Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Today I'm talking about this, the St Tropez Self Tan Luxe Dry Oil. So let's see what their claims are, and I'll talk to you about the smell, the application, how the colour developed, etc, etc. So it says that it's an indulgent dry oil that provides a natural looking streak-free golden tan that lasts for up to 10 days. Suitable for all skin types. It's a quick drying formula and is proven to moisturise for up to 7 days. So let's talk about the smell first. There is a very, very strong smell of lemongrass. The smell is, for me, only on application, and it lasted about 5 minutes, but it is very, very strong. A lot of the reviews I read said that they didn't like that and that they found it lasted hours, and one person actually said they went to have a shower because they couldn't stand the smell. So that's something to be aware of, and maybe bear in mind if you don't like the smell of lemongrass, you might not like it. The smell on development, there was no smell whatsoever. The smell of lemongrass had gone, and there was no usual biscuit tan smell. And I know this because I normally smell, I haven't found a tan yet that doesn't have that biscuity normal self tan smell. And I like that smell. I know that I'm in the minority, but I really like the smell of self tanner. And I like that when I wake up in the morning, especially when it's on my face, I can smell it. So I was very aware that there was no smell on this. The only thing I would say about that is I had and still do have a throat infection and a cold. So my smell might not be as good as it usually is, but I could smell my face tan that I put on, so I know that, you know, I hadn't completely lost my sense of smell. How easy it was to apply. I found it a little bit tricky at first, but just because it was a different formula, you know, it's not something I've ever used before, it's an oil, because I don't think there is anything else out there like this. I wouldn't be surprised now if everybody comes out with an oil, which will be really interesting to me, and I'll definitely be buying other ones to check them out. But yeah, it was a little bit tricky to apply because I wasn't sure how to apply it. So I tried first on my legs with a mitt, and that seemed difficult because the oil is just instantly kind of soaked into the mitt and it doesn't then spread as easily. Whereas with the liquid, it sort of saturated the mitt and you could get it from the mitt onto your arms and legs, etc. But with this, with it being an oil, it just seemed to sink in and it wouldn't come off, and it felt like it was dry. So I then tried with just gloves on, with latex gloves on, and that was absolutely fine on my legs. So I did that. On my arms, I did end up using the mitt, and I found the trick was to make sure you shake the bottle really quickly, put loads in, and just do it very, very quickly. And I've got other liquids that dry so fast that I need to do that anyway, so I kind of developed that method, if you like, and that seemed to work the best. What I did try a couple of days ago was I just put a tiny bit on my arm with my hand by shaking it and putting a little bit in my hand, and that feels like it would be the best way to apply this, is with your hands. That's a little bit tricky for me because when I apply my tan, I don't like to wash my hands, so I apply my hand tan with a brush, and that's how I avoid having to wash my hands. Simply because when I wash my hands, I feel like I often get little splatters of water on my arms or somewhere, that then you've got a little white spot where the splash of water has gone, or I wash my hands too far up or something like that. Anyway, I think that's how I'm going to try it next time, is with my hands. That seemed to be a good way to apply it, but if you're not applying it with your hands, I think maybe using gloves instead of a mitt would be better, but obviously give it a try yourself and see what you think. Other than that, it was pretty easy to apply. The colour guide is not as strong as I would like, and that is what a couple of reviewers have said as well. I would like it if it was a bit of a darker colour guide, because it's more like there is a shimmer in it, and you get shimmer all over your skin. So if you don't like shimmer, you won't like this. It's like a very, very fine glitter everywhere. Really, really beautiful actually, but that's not great as a colour guide. It would be better if it had more colour guide in it. But yeah, I found it pretty easy to see where it was going. You could certainly see where you hadn't covered, but you wouldn't want to be doing it in bad lighting, let's put it that way. So that's the application. How did it develop? Well, I used it on my legs and I used it on my arms, and on my legs and feet, it was amazing. I couldn't believe how well it developed, because I always have problems with the top of my feet. It never seems to be smooth. It seems to kind of gather on my toes, gather on the side of my feet, gather on my ankles. It never looks even. No matter how much exfoliation or moisturising I do, it always seems to look uneven, and it didn't look uneven, and that to me was amazing. That's something I read in the reviews I looked at, that a lot of people said that it was impossible to make a mistake. Now, I wouldn't go that far because I did have a little V at the back of my ankle where there was no lotion on, and I don't know whether that was because either I missed it, because obviously it's difficult to see the back of your ankle, or where I was sitting and I must have had my foot, like say, on the sofa or something, so I'm not sure about that, so just be aware of that. But the colour itself was just beautiful. I would say it's a medium, it's definitely, as they say, a medium golden tan. I'm not so sure about natural looking, because natural looking would depend on your base skin tone, but I'm very fair, and I think that this is a really good colour for me. I wouldn't want to go any darker than this, otherwise it would look too unnatural for me. But if you are a medium to olive skin, this would be more like a gradual tan for you, I would think. And actually I think this would be a really nice one to use as a maintenance, you know, in between tans, because of the oil giving you that constant kind of moisturising. I think it would be good for that. Something else I noticed on the reviews where people were saying it didn't dry very fast and they found it to be tacky for hours. I didn't find that. I felt like it dried within about 5 to 10 minutes, and I felt like the smell of lemongrass dissipated within 5 to 10 minutes. So that was absolutely fine for me. So I guess that depends on the type of skin you've got. So again, something to be aware of. But I think there's no huge problem with that really, because you can just, you know, I put my pyjama bottoms on, and because I was worried about my feet on the sofa, I just put a pair of socks on, and that didn't affect the tan whatsoever. So I had no issues with the tackiness of it at all. The colour on my arms was beautiful. There was no patchiness whatsoever, except for ever so slightly here. You can see it on my arms just now. This is the colour, and I put it on 2 days ago, but ever so slightly here. But I think that's just like if you bend your arm, you know, you're going to get those little lines. So that was the only sign of any kind of patchiness. So the only other thing really to say is how long does it last? Well, I won't be able to tell you whether it lasts the 10 days that it claims, because I only put it on 3 days ago, like I said, 2.5 days ago. And what I'm going to do is I'll annotate this video at 10 days. So I will watch it and put notes in the comments at 10 days as to how it's getting on. But what I can tell you is that today is day 3. Is that right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yes. Today is day 3, and it's not fading evenly, unfortunately. So that is a big downside. I didn't do everything I should have done though to apply this tan. So you're supposed to exfoliate, you're supposed to moisturise, or be well moisturised even if it's the day before or the morning. And I didn't do any of that. So it was quite a haphazard application. However, it's amazing to me because it was beautiful on day 1, but now on day 3, it looks very, very patchy and has now done what other tans would do on day 1, and it's kind of gathered on my toes and things, which is very unattractive. But I think that next time what I'm going to do is firstly apply it with my hands on my legs and feet. Secondly, make sure I exfoliate. And thirdly, I'm going to make sure I moisturise my legs and feet every day, because that's not something I do, and I don't have particular dry skin, which is why I generally don't moisturise every day. But I'm going to make sure I do that and see how I get on. And again, I'll maybe put some further comments on this video as to how I get on, and I might well write a blog on this on my website. So maybe look out for that if you want some further details. I think that's everything. I think the only other thing to tell you about is price and availability. So I bought it from Marks and Spencer's when they were having the 20% off everything, or everything beauty wise. So it's £25 in Boots, it's £25 in Marks and Spencer's. I got it for £20 in Marks and Spencer's when they had the 20% off. However, I looked up on the web for you this morning, and it's £20 currently on Beauty Bay online, and Beauty Bay do free postage. So if you want to buy it for £20, you can. It just means you need to wait 3 to 4 days as opposed to 1 to 2 days to get your hands on it. So at this point, would I recommend it? Yes, I think I would. I have really enjoyed using it. I really enjoy the smell. I think it's lovely, and it's very different to have that lemongrass smell. I think it is one that doesn't have that horrible biscuit smell on application, so that in itself might be attractive to a lot of people. I noticed in the reviews that a lot of people were mixing it in with a moisturiser, and they said that they found that easier to apply. So that's another way you could try it. But that would make it into a gradual tanner, definitely, because like I said, the colour was a kind of medium golden tone, but mixing it in with moisturiser would make it a much lighter tan. But I think I might try that on my arms, but I'm not sure. That would be a little bit messy because, you know, you've got the moisturiser, then tipping this on top and then trying to massage that in. I'm not sure. Like I said, my next plan of action is to use it on my feet and legs again, exfoliate, moisturise, do all the things that you're supposed to do, and I will apply it with my hands and then continue to moisturise. So the only claim that I don't necessarily agree with, that hasn't worked for me, not that I don't agree with, is that it says it provides moisture for up to 7 days. Well, it may well provide moisture, but for me it hasn't obviously provided enough moisture to keep the tan even. Everything else I kind of do agree with. Yes, it's a natural golden tan. Yes, it did dry quickly for me, and it does provide a lovely golden glow, and it's got a nice smell. You know, everything else kind of lived up to its claim, which I would more or less expect from St Tropez, because St Tropez is my #1 choice for most tanning products other than my Marks and Spencer's face tan. So I hope that was useful to you. If I've missed anything, if you've got any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And like I said, anything else that I discover from this, so in 10 days time I'll put a little comment in the notes saying whether or not the tan's still there. Although that might be difficult because it's so patchy. What I'm going to do is really exfoliate tonight and see, you know, what that does, because it's not looking pleasant at the moment. Not that I'm going to have my feet and legs out anytime soon, but well, it's really only on my feet. But I will put in the comments anything else that I discover from this. So if I try it with a gradual tanner, I'll try and remember and stick it in the comments and let you guys know. But yes, any questions you have, let me know. If you've bought this and tried this already, then let me know how you've got on, because it's great to get as many kind of input and opinions as possible, and then all the other viewers can read that and I can read that, and that's really interesting. So please feel free to let me know how you've got on. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you found that useful, and I'll speak to you again in my next video.